Okay, so I'm here with Cassidy and Hilary. Cassidy is a filmmaker. Hilary is one of the actors from a film, Life Like a Movie, film competition in London. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you to Cassidy and Hilary. So,
Thank you.
who would like, and welcome, of course.
Thank you.
Who would like to give me the synopsis?
I will. So it's about quite a few things, but the plot is a mid-20-year-old woman does something completely out of her comfort zone. She writes a song for her boyfriend, sort of to express her love for him. And I don't want to spoil it, but it doesn't go as planned.
Doesn't go as planned, I know.
Not at all. And but then it's about, you know, when you sort of fall on your face or feel like you completely failed in something, especially something that you do that's not anything that you normally do and you're scared to do, how you become yourself from that and become stronger from that and actually take ownership and voice of your own self from something like that, and how you can do that.
Would you mind me asking, is this from an experience? Because often these things are.
Most stories are personal, I would say.
I don't want to go delving, I just want to,
I know.
Because they say write what you know, don't they? So
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
Okay.
But also I was going to say, it's called Life Like a Movie, so it has the premise of so many things keep happening to this woman, and I think we all have those moments or those like phases of our lives where we're like, what the heck is going on? Like,
I'm being tested
so
many times.
Yeah, you're like, is someone watching me? Like one of the lines in the movie is like, I feel like people are it's a comedy.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I feel like people are watching me laughing at my misery, and somebody in the background like laughs at something else, and she's like, okay, what the heck is going on? And then also like, so with that, she breaks the fourth wall every so often. And at one point speaks into the camera as well. So there's that aspect as well. And then I think it also underlying, it has a lot of feminist forward movement happening in the film. And also I tried to include as much diversity as possible as far as race, sex, sex origin, and age. So.
I know, because we did, and we won't delve into this too much, we did talk, all three of us actually, downstairs a couple of days, about the Me Too campaign, but what intrigued me was you actually both live in LA, don't you? So I suppose you're really seeing, well, I don't know what's happening on the ground and what's happened actually in the last few weeks, but you're kind of getting an idea of the whole experience, and it must be quite profound at the moment, I guess.
Yeah,
well, hopefully it's profound.
We went to the Women's March the past 2 years, and it's really electric. I would say just the energy that's happening right now, and watching everything unfold, and trying to take up the positive things out of it, and being inspired, and wanting to share our stories, because I think everyone has something that they've gone through on the Me Too spectrum, I'll say. But no, it's awesome. It is inspiring, I think so.
Yeah, it's nice to be our age as a woman at this time, because
we're being given a voice, or trying to give people a voice.
Yeah, it's being spoken about that we are changing. I think the whole world.
Yeah, I hope so.
The look on things, not just in the entertainment industry, but everywhere else.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, we've been tainted over here with the MPs and all sorts of things going on.
Right.
A very similar thing.
Just in the whole world. So hopefully that bleeds into everywhere else quickly, and again, and of course, not meaning that women will eventually have more power than men, but just about equality in general, and specifically how women or people of less power are treated and spoken to, even just like on the street every day.
I know you've got to. I know, tread carefully, and I think again, as we spoke about, it's, as a man, it's even more so because of everything that's happened, and it is terrible and it's horrendous, and there's no getting away from the fact that this needs to be uncovered. And I suppose, and this is me going off piste here, so I suppose, well, as always happens, I'm sorry to say, but we all know that there is a gender imbalance in terms of, across all professions. Filmmaking is a really good example. And I mean, I don't know, only a couple of women have even won Oscars. You know, as an example, you know, Catherine Bigelow's probably the last one. I can't be sure.
Yeah, and now Greta Gerwig.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I think she's got a good chance.
Me too. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Great film.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah,
we just saw the poster that
it hasn't come out yet here.
Which is crazy.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
It's come out months ago in the United
Yeah, we haven't
States.
had it yet, I don't think. No.
Oh, no, it's
February 23rd. Soon.
Is that right? I will see it. I will see it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a good film.
So is it, I don't know if the word to use is off-putting, that's probably too strong a word in terms of being in the film industry as a woman, but you go in and you kind of know how tough it's going to be, but I'm assuming that makes you even more determined to succeed. Does that kind of make sense?
A certain personality, definitely our personality.
You have to be resilient, for sure. I mean, we say that, we're hustlers, we're pounding the pavement, and definitely have to have a thick skin because we are being judged on so many different things and how you present yourself, and you want to be the strong woman, and then you don't want to be, as I roll my eyes, you don't want to come off as being too aggressive or too emotional sometimes, but it's definitely a double standard, I think, because men, I don't feel like are told as much to rein in what they're feeling. They would, if anything, be tapped on the back and say, good,
you're speaking out.
Or if a woman says that, then I've been shut down many times and say, don't talk to me that way. And
that's
I'm like,
interesting. So blokes are almost encouraged to be the diametric opposite of, you know, when they're doing a performance or in business.
And again, like going back to the equality thing, I think that men have a lot of things that they're told to not be or to be as well. Like, you know, they have the whole thing that, you know, a lot of boys are told not to cry when they're growing up and things like that, which I don't think helps. And then, you know, girls are, it's okay to cry when you're a girl. So I just think, like, again, it's not just the women thing coming out of being more powerful themselves, but I think it's just equality altogether. And again, and which comes right back to my film, well, because it's like about finding your own voice and your own strength and like using that, and that's who you're, all these crap things that keep happening is like leading you to where you're actually supposed to be and what you're going to be happiest doing.
And how do you, I mean, I'm sure, if you don't mind me saying, there's elements of embellished in this film, as there is in most films. Of course, you take elements and add to it, and because you want to make it funnier or more profound or whatever you're going to do to it. But I suppose the question is, how difficult is it? Because you're basing this on life experiences, so you know there's elements of real truth in there, but it must be quite difficult to sort of weave that in and make sure you don't go too far or not far enough. And how do you go about that? Is that quite a difficult thing to do?
I think yes, especially with comedy.
I think comedy is the hardest thing. By the way, personally, I think it is just so difficult to do because you've got to get the beat, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got to make sure.
And you know real quick if it's not landing when it's showing to people or not, but.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I know, and people say that a lot. And I'm not, and I wouldn't necessarily say that I don't believe that that's true, but I have always been trying to be funny my entire life. So.
Well, I suppose the problem is what might be funny to me is not necessarily funny to you.
Right.
And you know, I mean, I might say, look, 40 Tales is the best thing I've ever seen, but you might say, come to this side of shit.
No.
And it's hard, isn't it?
Well, even the other films we've been trying to really watch, because we're nominated for Best Comedy, we've been really trying to watch the other, not just the other comedies, but making sure that we see the other comedies because just as a part of a learning experience.
Because there's a big, comedy, anything, it's a huge range, and we've been seeing a lot of different styles of comedy. And,
well, that's what I was needing to say, is that the other styles of comedy, I'm not sure if everybody would be able to, but I can see, I'm like, okay, this is this type of funny, this is this type of funny, this is culturally this funny. So I can see where it could be funny, and then there's always the stupid funny as well that people love, and it's sometimes funny even if it's stupid or ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I really, I had a script consultant say on my draft that I sent her at the beginning of last year that she thinks that my voice really comes out as this is my comedy in this film, which is a really great compliment.
That's a lovely compliment.
Yeah.
I suppose a paradox, this could have, of course, been written as a serious treatment, but I suppose the paradox then is, by making it a comedy, it makes it, you perhaps buy into it a bit more. I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, did you ever think about doing it as a serious treatment?
I'm not sure. I don't think that I did, because when I was thinking about writing it, I was just like, these are such ridiculous moments that I think everyone can relate to, that you like, when these things are happening to you in your life and you might be crying or you're so upset or whatever, like if you can take a step out and like look on the outside or see a little bit later, you're just like, this is laughable how ridiculous and how upset this made me, you know? So I was like, I think it's better. And also, you know, there's this saying, of course, that's like, you gotta laugh at yourself all the time, which I do. I mean, someone once told me they've never heard somebody laugh at their own jokes as much as I do. I laugh a lot in general to begin with. Okay. I laugh a lot, it's something I do. But even we had the premiere last night too, so we had the screening, and we were really happy with that. Like we had a lot of great laughs, and like the people that came, it was great. They were really intrigued, and the energy in the room was really great as well. And even if they weren't like, you know, slapping their knee, laugh out loud, laughing the whole time, we you know, I would take a look at their faces, and they were pretty much smiling the whole time, which was like, you know,
that's
great
to
see.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
And so Hilary, were you kind of always in perhaps I should ask, how silly this, but were you always in the frame for this part? I mean, from the outset, did you have her in mind to be in this, or did it just happen? You go, oh, actually, this would be perfect.
I mean, I hoped definitely when she had kind of told me that she was going to start writing this script, and there had been moments we would be hanging out in her apartment, and she would kind of just be like, "Let me read this to you," and I would just kind of riff or say, "Oh, what about this?" Da da da, and I mean, a lot of the times when we're just out and about, especially after this now, and because she's talking about making this hopefully into a series or a pilot, I'm like, this is a bit. I'm like, this is a bit. I'm like, this is just, because again, we have all these real life things, and I'm like you can't make up this stuff. It's just too good to not use it. So yeah, I mean, I never asked to be in it. I don't.
You begged.
I didn't ask. I didn't really audition. I just was always a part of kind of the hearing about it. Not that I was that involved in the creative process, but she definitely let me involve my opinion. And then she kind of just said, you know, I'm thinking of you for this part. Like, I'm pretty sure, as long as we get the approval from everyone, the director and everyone else. And I said, okay, well, if you think I'm the right fit. And but I mean, she gave me this gift, and it definitely, like she was saying about finding your voice, I tell people I think it's a truthful exaggeration of myself. It's kind of, even though the character's name is Hilary, we did that for a little bit of the feminist political pun there. I think it, I don't want to say it's this alter ego, but it's a part of my personality that I don't get to express all the time, where she's just whipping out these, I don't want to say harsh truths, but she's just saying everything that she thinks, and even if she...
But where you wouldn't, I suppose, in reality, you
maybe
would.
Not all the time, or not right off the bat, or maybe like to Cassidy behind closed doors, we kind of joke too that we think our real personalities are switched on screen. I may be more of Hope in real life, and she's Hilary, but yeah, no, I mean, I've really enjoyed it, and I also on set she let me improv a bit too, which was really
cool.
fun. Yeah, we did a couple different takes, and I mean, I had said, "Oh, can I do this?" And she's like, "Maybe tone that back. You kind of are going a little too blue there." But it just, I mean, it was nice that I got
blue too. What blue? Oh, swearing.
Oh, blue. Yeah, we say blue if it's a little too dirty, but I won't get into what the other options had been. We nixed those, but
well, because she's a good improviser and obviously a comedic actress, but it was just, you know, it'd be a couple of lines, and we also in the big scene that she's in as well had another amazing comedic actress who's in that scene, and she's also just hilariously funny and a great improver as well. And we were talking about this last night or the night before as well, and we, you know, a lot of I think younger filmmakers try to go into they're like, we're gonna shoot on these days and we're gonna improv the script, and I just don't believe that's like a great way to go about it. But if there are like a few lines,
it's a tough thing.
Yeah,
you've really got to be good at it, haven't you?
Yeah.
And there was a film we had in Nice, and it was virtually the whole thing was improv. It was actually a really brilliant film, but for me it went on a little bit too long. I did actually say that to the woman. Oh God, I shouldn't have said it, but I was. No. I just said. I remember saying
the name.
It's okay. It's really weird because actually I won't go into it because if she ever sees this, she'll know which film we're talking about. But I felt it just went on a little bit. No, it's a brilliant film, but it was probably 20 minutes too long. I mean, I'm no expert. And it was a comedy as well, and it was kind of all improv. It was really hard.
But just when that scene
that's the other thing is when, I mean, our editor isn't here, of course, but you have to be so good at editing comedy as well. I mean, even if you did improv for a long time, you didn't have to keep that all in.
Well, something else that I've realized too from the editing, it's not even so much the dialogue, it's just the reaction sometimes. I mean, I feel like a lot of the good moments in our scene are just...
like our faces are like, what?
Yeah,
what?
I'm not saying anything.
Really, it just has to pop right back and forth. And it's something that... Actually, we had an editor to begin with, and then it didn't end up working out, and so we went with another editor, which ended up really helping the director and I, because I was supervising the editing, and she was in on it, of course, too. So
I love talking about that because I always think that sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I always think editing to me. I mean, I know the whole process of filmmaking is painful in terms of people, and we talked about this earlier. The film guy I interviewed before you, the woman I interviewed before you, and most 99.9% of people won't realise just how long and drawn out it is, because they might see a 10-minute film, but I know it took 3 or 4 days just to film, plus the post, let alone the pre-production. And it is, I know it's a very tough thing to do, and I always posit the question about the editing, and if you bring an editor in, basically they're going to be cutting, they're going to be cutting scenes you really want to keep in, but I suppose you've got to have an independent eye and voice to do it. But it must be devilishly difficult to, I don't know, I don't know quite if it's the same with comedy, because you're working on a very structured line.
It's very I like that, devilishly difficult. If you have to painfully detail every single thing that you need, that you want.
So was it storyboarded? Do you work to storyboards?
We didn't. What did we do? The director, she is very, very much so guerrilla style, and I am not. And the director and I are very, I wish she could have come, but we were very similar thinking, which was amazing. We liked almost all the same things. We would always be asking each other, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? So it was wonderfully great working relationship for us, beginning, middle, and end. But, you know, the beginning was a little bit difficult for me because as the producer, I was like, we're never finishing late. We're getting everything done.
So no 11 o'clock finishes. And
no, I'm like, this is 8 to 8 or whatever we did. And we did. And you know, she's a bit, and I of course am on the creative side too. Of course I wrote it, but she was a bit more, you know, wanted to be more creative and wanted to have her own. And she didn't necessarily. She'd probably kill me for saying this, but she didn't want to do a shot list. And I was like, you're doing a shot list. It was like, we are not going to set without a shot list. And I will say she didn't even end up using her shot list, but she at least wrote it down, and we had an idea about it. And it's like, it was our DP as well. Her and the DP work very well together too, and they do guerrilla style almost all the time. They sometimes just go out on like a Saturday and they're like, okay, we're gonna shoot this, whatever. And I was like, okay, this is not how my film will be though.
Because I suppose having shot lists is kind of storyboarding anyway, because you're going to do it in a particular order. I know you might not necessarily know the exact camera angles, but even so, at least you're working to, I suppose, a structure.
Yeah, so she at least did it. We never looked at it on set, but we knew because we'd been working on it for so long. She was involved from almost the beginning. So even when we went to set with a script, we actually ended up having time, which was great. Shooting some things that weren't in the script that we went to set with, but were in previous drafts.
Right. Okay.
And they ended up actually making the film. So we were like, oh, we have to have that.
So kind of did all work out.
Oh yeah, very well.
Now you said something interesting. I can't remember which one of you two said it, but you were kind of done a character switch in the film, so you used more of it. Well, that's intriguing. So.
I wrote it, so I think every one of those characters is a little bit of me in. Even the character of the healer or whatever that Hope hates. She says one line. Hillary says to Hope at one point in time, like, my healer could align your chakras for you, and Hope is like, do not ever say anything like that to me ever again.
Where really I would.
Where I'm very
like
spiritual,
Reiki,
like Reiki meditation, like crystals. I'm like, give it all
and
to
I'm
me,
like,
cleansing.
no.
So there's that. But like, I mean, I wrote all these characters, so I 100% believe there are a little bit of me in all of these characters. But I would say definitely, I'm more of Hillary than Hope.
I'm just laughing though.
I wonder how it would have ended up if you'd have made the film with the roles switched.
I would have thought about that too, because like then once I saw that, I was like, why did I do that? I don't know why I did that, but it just ended up being that way. And I mean, I was always going to be Hope from the beginning.
And let's be honest, it's your film.
Yeah, it was my film, of course. But also, I was like, I saw how much fun she was having, and I was like, what? I was like, I want to do that one. But of course, she was great and everything like that. But also, it's too, because we're actors, like, you want to play something that's different than yourself. And because it's my own film, I could do whatever I wanted to. Like, of course, I was going to. And even though Hope is like the sort of straight character, the ingenue, she's very offbeat and very quirky and not an ingenue in the traditional sense, anyway. So. Just Hillary is way outside of that. She's the best friend. And again, like with the Life Like a Movie, one of the scenes, she's like, I get it now. You're the best friend. You're the quirky best friend. I'm the leading lady. And also, again, that kind of like, I actually, like Nancy Meyers is one of my idols as far as filmmaker goes.
Yeah.
And she, in The Holiday, which is one of my favorite films, especially as far as the screenplay goes.
Because it's done phenomenal business, isn't it?
What?
The Holiday did was a massive hit, wasn't it?
Yeah. She says, like, I think Kate Winslet's talking to, I forget his name, the actor. He recently died.
The
something
one from
with an A.
Yeah. Wasn't he in the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? I think he was. Is it the old guy, the scriptwriter?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he was. Yeah, I'm sure he was in the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
I'll think of it in a moment.
He's like, you're.
Eli Wallach.
Yeah. He's like, he was like, you're the leading lady of your own life, but for some reason you're acting like the best friend, and that like line just completely stuck with me. And she's like, of course you should be the leading lady of your own life, for God's sake. And
very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
I've watched that movie quite a few times. And that's kind of like a little bit of a accolade to Nancy Meyers as well, and in that part of the film. But also, again, coming back to like making your own life about your life and your voice.
So how do you get? I mean, I'm always intrigued when I know it's your profession to act. I mean, that's what you've chosen to do. And I don't necessarily mean this film, but has there been times with either of you when you've got a role? I assume you've taken the role, but actually you're looking, thinking, I'm going to tell you this. Shit, this is completely different to the kind of person I am. How do I prepare for this? I mean, maybe this never happened to you. I don't know.
I mean,
completely odd to the kind of person that you are.
I definitely feel that a lot. Like when we get auditions, like we'll get breakdowns, and I'm like, oh God. But it's kind of the job aspect kind of comes in, and you're like, this is what my training is, and you just eventually pull from something. And sometimes things click or they don't. But for some of the ones that we've got in the parts, I enjoy sometimes if there is that challenge. I mean, I think ultimately, like when you do book the role, there's something that is connecting you. There's the reason why you got that. But when there is that challenge, because I've had that, you just work through it, and then if you do find that aha moment, and it might not even happen till very late in the process, whether it's right before you're opening, or I mean, I guess I'm thinking more. We have theater backgrounds a lot, so when I think of plays.
Have you ever taken, I mean, without naming names, have you ever taken a role after you think, shit, I really, that, for whatever reason, it just didn't fit, your kind of acting experience ever happened?
Not for me, no, because like she said, it's fun to do a challenge and a different type of character.
I wouldn't say it's been roles, this is just maybe on technical value or things like that, and I've done some like short films, not this one obviously, but you'll get there and you're very excited about it, and then the set just isn't the atmosphere isn't what you wanted, and that kind of trickles into the performance, or like you see the final product and in your head, not necessarily saying it was my performance, sometimes the performances are shit, you're like, oh well, could have done better, but sometimes you think this was such good material and then it just wasn't executed properly, and that can be disappointing sometimes, but you just.
Well, I was going to say, because I produced a play that I didn't write, Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, a year or two ago. And that character, she's very different than me, especially as far as her life goes. She's very rough around the edges, had a horrible past growing up, and just is dealing with that right now. But there are I have like a recording of it just for myself, and so when I would watch it, I was like, there are plenty of things that
What grim?
are
Is it
like
just grim?
me. It's very funny as well.
Dark.
It's
dark
dark
comedy.
comedy, and when it's funny, but it's very much so a drama. That I don't know. It's kind of hard. But it's kind of that where actors say a lot like, how much of this is you, how much of this is the character, and it's like there's no really
Connection at
line.
all. No.
Like I think that, speaking frankly, like that's one reason what makes me a good actor is that I imbue myself into a character, you know, as much as I can, and also at the same time I put myself, even in my daily life, in other people's shoes easily. I'm always like trying to understand other people and why they do the things that they do, and I think that bleeds into what I want to do as a career.
And absolutely no, because again, getting back to how tough it is in the film industry, for men and women generally, because we all know you're chasing work. Is it absolutely the right career choice? You know, I mean, looking back, because you know,
I don't think there's like
it's
a right
drug
or
addiction.
Well,
wrong.
I mean, there's like a quote they say that like if you can think of anything else that you'd want to do in your life, like a backup choice, do it. And if you don't have a backup choice, then this is the career. And I don't know. I mean, we do other things. We have our survival jobs, but I don't know. Yeah, I just.
But there's nothing else I want to do besides, you know, like I love writing and I love producing.
But the thought of like a 9-to-5 job in an office is just.
I mean, we work all the time in LA just to almost survive, and also then if we go on auditions or book a job or whatever, then we're still working 6 days a week. At this point, you know, hopefully it won't be like that all soon, but. But like I wouldn't want to do something else, even though I'm exhausted or broke or whatever I am at the time. Like I'll always think about that, and I'm like, well, would I rather be in someone else's shoes? Because we have a lot of people, especially our age right now, like mid to late 20s, who are now kind of finally in their career. They kind of have finally found what they really want to do, and now they're kind of working towards that, working like 8 to 12 hours a day, making probably the same amount of money that we do,
or less,
and we
and
have
not necessarily fulfilled what they're doing.
No, some of my friends are miserable, and not saying that we're happy every single day, but
I know what you mean.
Much happier because
we're able to.
We know what we wanted to do and trying to do it.
I don't know, in moments like this, being able to travel, and you know, it's just. I was telling her, like, I mean, we've been in LA for almost like 5 years now, and there's moments, at least for me, I think, oh my God, have I done anything? I feel like I haven't done a lot, and I will write down everything I've done in the year, even like every audition I've gone on or what I've had, and you just make this list, and you are doing things, and you're constantly growing, and I think that's the reminder that it isn't going, as cliche as it sounds, it isn't going to happen overnight. We had a saying in our college, they would say, take the stairs. And that's always stuck with me.
Well, because it's the tough choice.
Well, just like the journey, like it's just it's going to take longer to take the stairs and take the elevator, but with each step that you take, it's something.
I suppose, I mean, the truth is you're in a career where you're creators, aren't you? You know, behind, in front of the camera, and 99% of people's careers are not going to be creators. They might be accountants, they might be lawyers, but they're not really making anything, are they? And if they are, it's not necessarily in the arts. So I can see, I understand the attraction, and what I was trying to say earlier is I always liken it to a drug addiction, because whoever you speak to, whether it's their first film or 15th film or 50th film, once they get that bug, they just kind of can't let go. Because they've done it, you know, and it doesn't matter what point in life they've done it, they just want to carry on. But I like asking the question, because the truth is that all of the people I've spoken to, or 99% of the people I've spoken to, have all said, no, I'm not going to do anything else. But it's always it's interesting to know why that is.
Well, I think it's also interesting for that person, whoever they are, to really look inside themselves when they answer that question, because I think a lot of people would easily say, no, I'm not going to do anything else, but it's like, okay, really though? Are you really not? Because especially in LA, and she would say the same thing. It's tough, but I'm saying she would say the same thing, is that we know so many people who, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but so many people who say to us all the time, and they're like, I thought thought about trying out the acting thing. I thought about like, I just thought I'd come here and I'd try this. We could give it a try, and I'm like, okay. I would never tell you. I would never say no. Don't do that. But it's like, and I'm not saying that we are the good ones or the right ones either. But we've been doing this practically our whole lives, whether it be theater or film, and just hearing that is like. It's like it's cringe-worthy.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm
gonna
actually
try
cringing,
out the acting thing, and I'm like, what if I was just like, I'm gonna try out the lawyer thing,
the dentistry thing.
I'm trying to do some heart surgery. I'll just give it a go.
I mean, not that having surgery or doing surgery and acting is that high on the spectrum of danger.
It's actually it's a bit patronising.
It's very like to people like us
because they don't think it's that hard or how much goes into it.
They're like, you know what? They just think they see people who make a lot of money, and there are a lot of people who are, get lucky and whatever.
Yeah, the 0.1% or whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was with you or the other day. I was saying how, especially in Hollywood, part of the allure is these overnight sensations. But when you really look up these people, they've been
around the block
for 10, 15 years. I was saying to someone like, I moved out at 22 to LA, and coming fresh out of a conservatory, you're like, I'm on top of my game. We're gonna start doing this, and then you go into the room with these girls who are the same age as me, but they've been kid actors, so they have 10 years worth of connections and networking. And yes, there's that 1 in 1,000 that gets that lucky break, but that was like the big reality and ego check for me. Like, okay, it doesn't happen overnight sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, Alan Rickman comes to mind. I only remember him from Die Hard, but he was in his 40s when he'd done that, and that was his. That's not an overnight. He'd been around. He'd been in theatre, been around for years.
Exactly.
But it took that film to bring him to the fore. But actually, that's quite late. But it gives you an example of how long it can take.
No, I just finished reading Jenna Fisher's book, Pam in the U.S. office. That actress, and she didn't get that job till her 8th year in L.A. And I keep quoting that so much, but it just really has been resonating with me because, like I said, we've been in LA almost 5 years now, and some days I'm like, I haven't done anything, but you have to remind yourself you are putting in the work.
When you look back, you're like,
and to hear these people who have made it, or per se, just they're saying that they were in the same situation as us. And a big thing that I took from her book, which Cassidy's doing too, everyone is saying, make your own work. Just do it.
Two other people said that.
Because I've heard that forever, and I just said to her recently, especially being here, I'm like, I'm so inspired because I've always been very afraid to write, and like I write for myself or from improv. I've had to do exercises, but I've never felt confident enough to put something down. But watching all these different types of films, like, okay, maybe like just write. Who knows? Who knows what could come from it?
Exactly. So. This guy called Omar. He's got a short comedy, Love, Sex, and a Side Effect.
We want to see it.
He's really brilliant. I interviewed him off camera. I've done an audio interview with him. It was actually for a piece of the magazine, and he said that almost word for word. He just said, look, the roles weren't coming along. It wasn't happening. And then I just realised, I need to do my own thing. I need to write my own thing. I need to create my own thing. And he said, because the doors weren't opening and I wasn't getting the roles I wanted. And it's almost identical to what he said. His film's really funny. As is yours.
We're excited to see it. We've been talking to him a lot.
Really good.
We like him a lot. But actually, I was going to say something earlier about going back to the women, especially making your own work and then also being a woman when you don't have that opportunity. We were talking about this a lot the other night, that it sounds kind of harsh, but I feel okay saying it because I am a woman that has done it. But it's like, like the stigma of being like, oh, the girls like go out to the bar and they don't have to pay for anything because the guys pay for it. And it's like, it's time that almost starts to change as far as not just in a bar level or whatever, but in as far as your own work, because I take Reese Witherspoon as a big example. She's
fun! I'm just thinking about her.
All about that now, and she's of course she's an Oscar-winning actress first, but which would have been nice. That would have been nice, but she has her own production company now, and she's done movies and series just in the past few years that have been doing insanely well.
Because she's firing her own shots. That's the thing.
And she's like I said, she had some money to begin with, but she's putting it in. She put a lot of money in it to begin with, not knowing if it would like pay off. And she's all about like women doing that as well. So I'm like, if you're a woman, especially, you cannot sit down anymore.
No, I mean, like, for me, the ultimate is Oprah. You know, literally from dirt poor, and literally, you know, we all know the story. And you know, has been touted as the next potential Democrat. I know she's dismissed that now. But for me, if there's anyone that can show just what you can do, and again, that sounds a bit patronising because she's one. I don't mean it to be, but if you want a role model, you know, whatever your gender, you can't look much further. She's an amazing woman. That's it. Believe it or not, 35 minutes have gone.
That was fun.
Wow,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
He's made in the image of the wild one. I do see truth exudes from his heart. No fear on the edge of the horizon.
You could try smiling. They say that helps.
I should smile more. Well, why don't you smile more, you stupid bunny?
Take off into the sun.
I watched my own heart sizzle on a Cyber Monday hot plate.